Hi, comic book fans, and welcome to another suddenlycomics.com video. And it's Monday night, so it's the price variance. And this week, Alan and I have both selected 3 indie comics to talk about. I've selected one comic and I'm using that to start to tell you about it. Alan's going to show you about 150 covers, probably of scantily clad women. Right. So, Alan, would you like to kick off first?
So I'm debating about which scantily clad woman to show first. I'm going to show you this scantily clad woman first. Okay. This is Thunda Comics #1. Okay.
That looks like this is a scantily clad man.
Well, there's a scantily clad man, but there's in the corner. I'm not sure if you can see it.
Oh, right.
My hand's over it. One sec here. I gotta kind of hold. So this is a really awesome comic. Awesome. So this is Frank Frazetta is considered to be one of the most highly regarded artists of all time. I would say, not just in comics, but in art. His paintings, his original paintings can sell for millions of dollars. Okay. Yeah. He is a well-renowned artist. Well, he had a passion project. Okay. And this is it. So Frank Frazetta only did covers for comics. He didn't do interiors for the most part because he was kind of this premier artist. Well, this comic, he did everything.
Wow.
So this is Frank Frazetta cover. All the interior art is Frank Frazetta. And it's just an amazing comic as a result. It's just this is a, kind of a pinnacle of, his thing, because it's something where he really fell in love with the character, and he was involved with the story creation and everything. He didn't write it, but, he was involved. It was really a partnership. So, and the funny thing is, it only ran 1 issue with Frank Frazetta. Then it ran another 5 issues with some other artists. Because what happened was the company that made this comic, they wanted to take some creative liberties to it. And that really pissed Frank Frazetta off. So he's like, okay, bye-bye. So he did 1, and it's really awesome. I just want people to know about it, and I'll show you. It's a 6-part series. I have 5 of the issues altogether, but there's 1 in the mail that'll be on here on Monday, so you'll see that in a future unboxing. So this is #2, and it's Bob. I got his name, Bob Powell, something like that. Bob something. Powell. Yeah, I was right. Okay, Bob Powell. #3. And the story is actually quite interesting. It's kind of like that. It's been done so many times now, but it was a kind of a cool idea at the time, where it's the modern day person goes back in time, to a land where it's back in time, right? That's the storyline. Yeah. And, he becomes kind of like a Tarzan-like guy, even though he's a man of the modern world. So that's kind of the storyline. It's interesting. It's worthy of reading. You can read it online. It's a very expensive set of comics to pick up. #1 will cost anywhere from $500 to a few thousand, depending on the grade. Okay. The other issues are actually fairly affordable because they don't have that Frank Frazetta attachment. You can pick them up for about $50 to $150, that kind of range. Okay. So I don't know. I thought it was interesting. I'd like to show something a little bit different.
Yeah, I didn't know about that. It was an interesting one. Right, my next one, my first one, right? Is Alan Moore, my favorite comic book writer.
Mm-hmm.
And it is The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. This is League of Extraordinary Gentlemen 1. Now, this is meant to be indies, and this says America's Best Comics. I'm not really sure it counts as indie because ABC, America's Best Comics, was actually a subdivision of DC. Or it became a subdivision of DC. So Alan Moore doesn't get on with DC. because he got annoyed with them over Watchmen, over the sort of merchandising of Watchmen. And as a consequence, when DC got involved, he stopped working for ABC, and he moved off to, I think it was Knockabout Comics, where he produced the follow-up series on League of Gentlemen. But anyway, this is a great series. It was one of those which was let down by the movie. I like the movie. The movie's okay.
Bring that out there.
It's not a patch on the comic book, which is a lot darker. Have you read the comic?
I haven't read the comic. I have it. I have the complete set, but I haven't read it yet.
So the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, the key characters are Allan Quatermain, who is Rider Haggard's character. So what Alan Moore does is he uses characters who copyrights run out on. So you're allowed to use Allan Quatermain. Rider Haggard's been gone quite a long time. The Captain Nemo.
Jules Verne character.
Jules Verne, again, copyright run out a fair amount of time ago. And it's obviously got his famous ship, the Nautilus. There's Mina Murray, who is from
Bram Stoker.
Exactly. She becomes Mina Harker, and from Bram Stoker. We have got Invisible Man.
H.G. Wells.
Griffin Hawley. And we've got Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
And that's, what's his name?
Stevenson, is it?
Stevenson. Yes, Stevenson. I was getting there. I was going to say it.
So a great collection of characters. None of them, they're all flawed. You know, all of them are flawed. I mean, the real cad is the Invisible Man. If you read the comic, he's a real bastard.
Yeah.
And the person, they're sort of brought together by a sort of British Secret Service guy called Campion Bond, who's obviously meant to be some sort of Victorian version of James Bond. You can see on the back here, we've got the 5 hands of the 5 characters. You know, so you've got the huge, great big hand of Dr. Jekyll, the little hand of Mina Murray, and you can see Invisible Man with there's no hand there at all. So a great series by Alan Moore, writing at its top as usual, and the artist on this is Kevin O'Neill. And I think Kevin O'Neill's actually stuck with Alan Moore. I think this is on series 4 now. There's 4 series of this. The last series was done as trade paperbacks only. And it's fantastic. I mean, it's as with Alan Moore, all his comics are full of references. You know, so if you can go through and you go, that's a reference to this or that. And also Kevin, some of it's visual references, and you'll just see a character in the background and you go, I know who that's meant to be. So it's really great stuff. Alan Moore having great fun. If you've not read this, the film's okay, but the comic is better. If you've not read League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, this isn't expensive to pick up either. You can pick this up. You can pick up all 4 volumes of it. All of these are probably cover price or less. So you can get these. One of the greatest, the greatest comic writer of all time, in my view. I think well worth picking up.
I enjoyed the movie. I get into concepts. I love, like, when it's a cool idea, it just really appeals to me. So I like the idea of, you know, picking all these kind of typical, like, either horror or kind of like ones that are super famous, like Dracula, you know, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, the Invisible Man, like all these kind of major characters, and then putting them as a super team. That's such a cool concept. I just really liked it. And I kind of forgave some of the, iffy things about the movie. I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was good.
A little trivia fact for you. It was actually Sean Connery's last screen appearance before his death.
Oh, really? Like, didn't he record something after that? Or
I was looking it up on the today, and yeah, that was his last major screen appearance.
I'm a big fan of Sean Connery as well.
Yeah, me
yeah,
too.
I really enjoy him. So yeah. Oh well, that's a shame. Shame that he didn't go out in a better movie, maybe. Well, at least one that did better, I should say. Okay. I like to show scantily clad women, so I'm going to show some more scantily clad women because that's what I do. And I want to show. Actually, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you two comics. One is not scantily clad; it's sort of like a cross to give you. Okay, this is the number one in the series, but then the series realized, hey, we scantily clad women are better. So this is JoJo Comics number one. This is a cheap buy. You can pick this up for $50. Okay, this is a Golden Age book.
Golden Age, yeah.
Yeah, Golden Age. It's JoJo Comics number one. It's from like 1940 something, like early 40s, like not early 40s, maybe 47, 48.
That's interesting. It has a look of an underground comic from the 70s to it.
A little bit, yeah, I would give that. Yeah, I would say so. The funny thing about it is, the guy that created it, Fox. This is Fox, a Fox comic. He basically considered himself to be the king of comics, and he would just rip off other comic series and then make his own version of it. So he did it as a kind of cartoony thing at first, and then in issue number 7, he made it JoJo Congo King. And this is the first appearance of Congo King because Tarzan was popular, Shino was popular, all these things were popular. It's like, I can make my own one, and he made JoJo. So it's really great. He would take things and he would make them like a little bit more sexy, a little bit more violent, just up the dial a lot. Well, not a little bit, but a lot. Just crazy level. Like, I mean, she's like strapped to an iron elephant, and and he's like jabbing a spear into the elephant's mouth. Okay, this is like JoJo Comics is like full on craziness. Just they're fun to read. They're like women just scantily clad all the time for no apparent reason. Just funness. I really enjoy the series. I'm going to show you a couple more. Like, I got to show a bunch because that's me. That's my style. I just show a lot of stuff. I'm collecting the whole run, so this is one of the more expensive ones in the run. This is like the typical girl in bondage, like upside down. You got Jack Kamen, Matt Baker. You got all these great artists that are involved with this comic. So it's just like cool Golden Age stuff, So I'll show you some more. I'll just quickly show a bunch of JoJo.
Yeah.
JoJo the Congo King.
I enjoy them.
So
okay. Yeah.
And as I said, they would do a lot of these bondage ones. I love the bondage one, especially where it's like a girl with the ripped dress, looking a little bit more distressed. And then we got like some gorillas. Yeah. But some of the scenes in it, like when I say full on, like there's like a scene where there's a guy and he literally gets like a spear through the neck. And you see the spear like like little, and then there's another one where I've described in a few of my videos, but where there's this like idol thing and sitting on like a cart, and the cart has these big spiky wheels. Okay. Yeah. And they're literally running over a road of maidens that are like there for sacrifice. You see like all the holes in their body. it's pretty insane. So JoJo Congo King. These are all from like the Golden. I really love these Jack Kamen and Matt Baker kind of style covers. So yeah. This one, I'm sort of sad about this one. This one, actually, I really like the story in it, but this one has a huge bug. Somebody ate the comic. It's
half of it. My dog ate.
Yeah, a dog ate my comic. So somebody ate this one. But because they ate it, I got it really cheap.
Yeah.
this is normally a few hundred. I get it for like 30-40 bucks. So, but yeah, it's a really cool one. He's like saving these like little miniature women. I just kind of like that. And the bad guy in it is the white man. Literally, they have a character called the White Man, and he's the bad guy.
Oh,
So you know,
very politically correct then.
He'd be like so into the modern age. I don't know. Yeah. So and then we got this one. This is the last of the series. Okay. I don't really like the last one because it doesn't have any scantily clad women so on the cover, but yeah. So that's Jojo the Congo King.
I've not seen those ones before. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Now then, I've got another comic by a Canadian here.
Oh, okay.
So the Canadian comic writers are weird. Okay. So this is one of my favorite series ever from an independent comic, and it is, you've seen this cover before because I put it on my weird covers.
Yeah, you mentioned it.
This is a comic called Yummy Fur by a guy called Chester Brown. Now, this is from, he's a Canadian. He started writing his own little mini comic in 1983. And he did 7 issues of it. And then Vortex, I think, is a Canadian-based publisher, or was a Canadian-based comic publisher. And the first few issues of Yummy Fur reprint the little mini comics that he produced for himself. And this cover's just great. Darling, why are you hiding your gerbils from me is probably one of my favorite covers. It's just so surreal. Anyway, Chester Brown is even odder than Dave Sim. Okay. So his famous character is called Ed the Happy Clown. So Ed the Happy Clown appears in Yummy Fur 4 for the first time.
Oh, that's his first appearance?
I think in Yummy Fur 4, yeah. He doesn't.
I should pick that up. That's actually a major character.
Yeah. 1, 2, and 3 reprint the mini comics, and I think Ed the Happy Clown first appears in Yummy Fur 4. I'll confirm that to you. And Ed the Happy Clown becomes quite a major character. He won an Eisner Award for Ed the Happy Clown. I mean, it is weird, you know. Yeah,
really weird.
I mean, Ed the Happy Clown emerges from a pile of somebody's excrement. So anyway, he eventually gives up on. He was planning for Ed the Happy Clown to be a character he used throughout his career, but he did, when he got to about issue 14, he decided he didn't like Ed the Happy Clown anymore, and he started doing a series of autobiographical stories from his childhood. His parents were very religious, and he was brought up as a Baptist. And there's some seriously weird stuff going on in this guy's head, but it's fascinating, absolutely fascinating. And he starts adapting the Gospels. So I'm thinking around issue 15 or 16, he starts doing a comic version of the Gospel according to Saint Mark.
That's really weird.
Yeah, and he did the whole of St. Mark, and he got about 2/3 way through Matthew, and then he stopped, and he says he's not going to finish it. This went to, I think Yummy Fur ran for about 30, 40 issues. I've got all of them. You know, going back in the sort of mid to late 80s, I spec'd big on you. I've got 17 copies of Yummy Fur 1. So if anybody wants a copy of Yummy Fur 1,
I think I picked up a copy actually after you showed it before.
You should have let me know. I'd have sent you one. Right. But he's still going. He actually gets sponsored by the Canadian government now, and he doesn't do comics. He does it as trade paperbacks, and he's famous for he has a very strange relationship with women. and he effectively wrote a whole trade paperback about how he uses prostitutes and how he prefers to have relationships with prostitutes. I told you he's Canadian. That very odd.
We're not all like that.
So, but a really interesting character. You could go and find him on YouTube as well. He's a really odd character. But you know, it's the odd characters who produce interesting comic books. Really recommend you find some stuff from Chester Brown. You can go and get trade paperbacks, or you can even buy the Yummy Furs because they're not expensive. But it was one of the classics from the 80s. If you go and look up, you know, classic sort of 80s independent comics, Yummy Furs, one of them.
Okay, so that's very cool. I picked up Yummy Fur. I'm pretty sure I picked it up. I'm gonna check my order to see if I was able to get that number 1, and if I might need to get number 4 if that is the first appearance. I love getting first appearances. That's my thing.
Let me check it for you, but I think it was number 4.
So I'm debating about what to show. Actually, I was gonna show something, and then I'm realizing I don't want to show a bunch of books. I want to just show one book because Mark's just showing one book. Should I just show one book or should I show a bunch of books? So I'm going to grab something kind of that's right above me. It just happens to be here. And it's this one. This one was actually recommended by some other YouTuber. Did you hear what Eddie Gein done?
Oh, I've not heard of that. Oh, it's Eric Powell.
It's Eric Powell book. He did all the illustrations and stuff. So Eddie Gein, or I'm probably pronouncing his name wrong. What would you say? Gein?
It sounds like Gein to me, yeah.
I would say Gein. Okay, so Gein. He was a serial killer.
Okay.
And his story was kind of one of those stories that influenced a lot of people in terms of their writing. So Psycho is based on Eddie Gein.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, the typical like mother, you know, dressing up like your mother and all that kind of stuff. So I believe that, he murdered his mom. He murdered a bunch of people. He had like taxidermy thing going on. You know, everything that you see in Psycho, kind of, you can see where the actual story came from.
Okay.
And that was this one. Okay. Right. So, you know, it's one of those ones where it's beautifully illustrated by Eric Powell. If you like his style, like he does the Goon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I really enjoy the Goon. And this is just another book that was created by him. So I think it's one that, you know, is under the radar. You can pick it up for cover. You know, it's like, but it's like a $30 book because it is a hardcover book. But actually I paid $20 for it, so you can pick it up for less than cover. Just a really great book. Highly recommend. And it's just, you know, if you're into like true crime, kind of like that dark, like really dark stories, really, really recommend this one. So that's really good. That's my last one.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So show just one book. I was going to show and it was a stack, and I was like, I'll overwhelm Mark. He'll hate me. Okay.
Right. Okay. So my last one is this is a series called Lady Killer, and it's by an artist writer called Joelle Jones, and it's a glorious series. This is actually from the second series. The first series she did with a long-time collaborator called Richie. But the second series, she did both the art and the story herself. And it's sort of like a 1950s housewife who kills people. And so the art in this is great. The dressing, you know, it's a bit like Mad Men, you know, she dresses like really smart lady from the 1950s. but you know, here she is in a dress, and you can see she's got a dagger dripping blood. So I really like this. Joelle Jones, really good. I mean, she's written and drawn Batman. She's done a number of DC projects. This is signed by Joelle. So she was at the Thought Bubble convention last year. I took a whole bunch of stuff up for her to sign. Really lovely lady, very unassuming. And I think, you know, she's in her early 40s, so I think we're going to see a lot more from Joelle Jones. And I think this has been optioned later.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So there we go. That's my final pick from Dark Horse is Lady Killer by Joelle Jones.
It was weird. You mentioned Joelle Jones in a previous video.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I don't know why, but I ended up, like, I didn't know who she was. Like, I never heard of her before. And then I just sort of started encountering her covers. It's like the weirdest thing. It's like once you start thinking about something, all of a sudden it sort of manifests around you. But I picked up like 4 covers that day. 4 covers with her thing. It was just so weird. It was like
Catwoman for a bit. There's some great Catwoman
and Wonder Woman too, actually. So that was it. Those were the ones I picked up. It was like so weird. I was like, that is so weird. I never even heard of this artist. Now I'm like picking up all her things. So yeah, so I thought that was interesting. But yeah, it's cool that you got to meet all these people.
Yeah,
that Thought Bubble sounds like a great,
fantastic. I mean, I'm just going to.
And she's American, right?
Yeah, she's American. Yeah.
She came all the way to England. That's a pretty big deal.
No, they love coming to Thought Bubble. So we got Tinian was there. This lady here who does the art on Wonder Woman currently. Becky Cloonan was there.
Becky Cloonan was the one I'm thinking about, actually.
That's Becky Cloonan.
Yeah, Becky Cloonan. That's the one I meant. That's the one I was thinking about. Sorry, I got them mixed up. Sorry.
That's Becky Cloonan as well.
I got them mixed up.
Yeah. So Becky Cloonan's also worked on Batman and Wonder Woman.
That's why the confusion was. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're both artists that I was not familiar with, but it's, you know, once you start knowing the artist, then you start seeing them.
Yeah. Yeah. Becky Cloonan's stuff is very spottable. You know, there's once you know her style, you can see it. You know, it's identifiable. Probably the one you've picked up, which is a sort of again, it's purpley one of Wonder Woman, which is one I got signed, which is really great. So yeah, in fact, when I was at Thought Bubble, I had a chat with her and her husband because he's a comic book writer. And he's actually working with her on Wonder Woman at the moment. So it says Cloonan, says on here, Cloonan and Conrad. So Conrad is her partner. When I was there, I said, you know, I've got a small YouTube channel. Would you be interested? Would you be prepared to do an interview? And she said, yeah, just contact us up. And so I may try and contact
interviewer,
yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be really cool.
So so that's my. Well, that wasn't my final one. My final one was Joelle Jones, who is a different.
yeah. Joelle Jones and Lady Killer.
Becky Cloonan is the other artist to watch out for.
So I'll probably pick up that Lady Killer and the other one that you recommended. Yeah. Yummy Fur 4.
And both those two are quite busy girls, but quite busy women. They work quite hard. They do quite a lot of work. And they both do art and writing, which I quite like.
Oh, that's cool. I like when that happens because then the art matches the story.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's much better. Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, I think that's your lot for today. Many thanks, Allan. I thought it was really interesting stuff today. I'd not seen a lot. Sometimes I think, oh, we're just going to get Miss Mask all over again.
I think I'd change it up a little bit.
But we didn't. We got some stuff I hadn't seen before, so that was great. Okay, come up with things. That's your lot for today. Enough said.